Yeah, so for today's breath work, um, I'm always just thinking about these like different aspects of the breathwork practice. There's just a lot to kind of access here. And so when we get to practice or focus on the breath just from a different angle every time, it really kind of just helps us to look at this thing that's really is just one thing. It really is just one thing, but we get to experience it in just a bunch of different ways. So, one aspect of the breath that I was really practicing quite a bit myself. I found it very useful, both in my time at the clinic and in exercise. I had a big race this past Saturday, so I was using it there as well. Um, and then there were just like some other instances where I kind of found myself like feeling more of like this anxiety and worry buildup. Wasn't exactly sure what that was about, but we still, I really advocate for our first access point is like, see if we can change the physiology with the breath. And then we have this beautiful opportunity to then investigate the kind of like cognitive components. Like, why am I worrying? Oftentimes, if we just change the physiology, the thoughts and emotions just follow suit. Um, and then it's a little bit easier to navigate. And that was my experience in my recent examples. So what I wanted to look at today was the full expression of the breath, especially looking at the bottom. So I'm gonna share my screen here. And there's always this bar up top, and I don't know how to get to my tabs very well. How do I do that? Can I slide it here? Hold on a second. Hold on a sec. All right, let's try it again. All right, can you all see that? All right, so I wanted to look at, we use the clock sometimes to talk about the, so this one right here. So this will be our inhale. This will be our exhale. And that's what we often breathe like. So it's just inhale, exhale, and that kind of constitutes the top half of the breath. But we have this opportunity to of course exhale a little bit deeper. And then we have the inhale here as well. Really the arrows are kind of pointing at whether they're active or passive. So when we take our breath in, so let's start with our inhale, that's going to be an active motion. So diaphragm contracts, lower ribs expand. But then when we breathe out, that's passive. This is on our just normal breathing. Yeah. Now we can go a little bit past zero and we can do an active exhale, right? A little bit past that resting point. And then on the first part of the inhale again, it's going to be passive. Okay. Now, again, sometimes we kind of just do like this loop here. Whoops. Loop. And then we kind of just like start over and we just breathe on this top cycle. Now, what we're going to practice today is actually doing, we call it reverse breathing, where we just start at this part here. So we actively breathe out, and then we just allow for this passive inhale, rinse and repeat, right? So that would be a reverse breath. Let's see, is there anything else that we need to say here? Is that making sense so far? Does that concept make sense? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Um, so I'll just leave that up for right now. There's another aspect of this that I think is really important. And I kind of have to use two analogies. So until I find a better one, we're just going to use these two different analogies. But I also think about the breath as a swing. So actually, I'll close out. So I like to think about the breath as a swing. So say you've been like, say you take a really big breath in, right? That's creating a lot of this pendulum swing to one side. And then when we just let go, it's naturally going to have this like really big swing in the opposite direction. The same thing is true if we've been holding our breath at the bottom, right? We don't have to try that hard. It's naturally just going to take this really big breath in. That's a big part of the function of just the automatic breathing, right? That's happening at a lower center in the brain. So I was pushing my nephew on the swing recently, and what we tend to do, right, is like if I stand behind him, I'm pushing like this, right? He comes back, and then I just give him like a reasonable amount of force with the right timing in the position when he's close to me, right? That's what normal breathing usually looks like. When we start to access the opposite part of the swing, it's a little bit, I like to do this thing where we're like swinging and he's got the tempo and then I just like hold on to the swing, right? So I'm like I have him here and he's just giggling, he like flails his legs, ha 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 ha, and then I push him again. So we actually have this opportunity, like I can like pull him, right? So like I can actually increase this pendulum swing by pulling as well and then letting it go. And I could actually just do the pull if I wanted to, and that would also increase the pendulum swing. We could also do both, right? So as part of our breath work, we always get into this phase, usually pretty early, in the guided breath work, where we just start to build the breath, right? And what we don't need to do necessarily is just send it huge and then like it's really that can be kind of jarring to the nervous system, right? Because if we look at real instances or instances in real life where that happens, it's like those aren't really the savory ones. It's usually like something scary happens or a loud noise. I just came up for air. I forgot that I was breathing. I was holding my breath, right? Those are usually instances where the nervous system isn't so happy, right? Like it's probably interpreting that experience as danger or just definitely not safety. So what we want to practice is this really nice ramp up. Like, can we just do that slowly in a way that feels savory and safe to the nervous system? Yeah. So we still get to this really big breath, but we just do it in a way that's nice. It starts to replicate a little bit more like what we would do when we're like working out and we have this like really nice build up, right? We do our dynamic warm up. I start my jog or whatever it is, little by little by little by little. Next thing you know, over the course of 5 to 10 minutes or whatever, now we have like this really big breath. We're using the full expression of our breathing. So exercise becomes this really good avenue to practice these things as well without the metabolic load though when we do the guided breath work. And so we definitely get a different physiologic experience for that reason. Um, so yeah, the reverse breathing is also kind of like just doing the pulling, right? Let it go, just do the pull. And again, when I release, it's just passive, right? It's going to move that way naturally. So we can really build it on either side. We just tend to do the one side, which is again, it's natural, but we can practice on this side, and really build the skill of that that kind of bottom part of the breath. So what's really cool about this aspect of the breath too is it uses different muscles. So when we do the exhale, the diaphragm doesn't have to activate. We're just using the muscles that are around our core, some of our ribs, right? So they all kind of sit lower. Um, and so what I wanted us to practice today is to actually feel those muscles. And I'm gonna shift my camera a little bit here. So if we go like hands on your hips, oh, it's gonna blur. Hopefully you can see. Hands on your hips, and then you just kind of dig your fingers in just along the front there. So along this aspect here is our rectus abdominis. I want you to be like out to the side of it. It's kind of like it's kind of like if you're standing, hands on your hips, Superman position. And all I want you to do with your fingers there, first thing that I want you to do is let out a cough. Go. And what you should feel is that muscle push out into your fingers. Yeah. Can you feel that? Give me a thumbs up if that's all good. Okay, cool. So that's one way to do it. Also, if we laugh, ha 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 ha, right? Um, just sneezing is another one. So if we do that, it's going to naturally activate that part of the core. In the physical therapy space, this is one of the more surefire ways for for me to make sure that my patient knows how to brace their core. Breathe out. So keep your fingers on that spot. Now just breathe all the way out to the bottom. Let's do it out through the nose. And when you get really, like, as you continue to go down the exhale, you'll start to feel, yes, those core muscles activate. You might feel other things start to contribute. So pelvic floor starts to contract, right? Maybe the glutes start to join the party as well, right? So they all kind of work together. And so, yeah, this is really good for pelvic floor health as well. We also think about this as a really good way to brace the core, like to create some strength there. So when we think about if you've ever watched tennis or martial arts, huh, right? The exhale is where we create force. So they're not, just doing that for fun. They're doing that to create some stability through their core so they can generate a lot of power through their arms, right? Well, from the ground, through their core, into their arms, and then through the ball or whatever the sport is. Um, were y'all able to feel that pretty well? Could you feel your pelvic floor contract when you got down to the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll kind of play with that component today. We'll kind of play with that a little bit today. So yeah, the reverse breath is just exhaling, and then all you have to do is release it, and then it naturally inhales for you, right? So we have this nice passive inhale. And then we're just working those muscles. Diaphragm gets to relax. So do these other muscles that pull the ribs up, neck and shoulders. Um, so another thing that I was going to mention about that is like very commonly when we initiate like a breathwork technique. So throughout the day, like the ones that we use when you're like, oh, I want to do a box breath, or I want to do a sigh, or kind of like how I mentioned, I'm like, I just noticed some like tension in my chest and it felt like my heart was racing. Like, why do I feel anxiety in my hands? Some of these things. Well, those are again instances and opportunities for me to try a breath to get this like physiologic change. Oftentimes we say start with the exhale, like breathe out first. Because in the instances where we are kind of like worked up, we have this higher level of arousal, we tend to be breathing really high, like we're kind of up here. So especially for those of us, this is me, like my neck is tight, my shoulders are really active, right? That's one reason that we have so much tension up there. So if you carry tension up in this area, it oftentimes directly ties in with how we're breathing, right? My shoulders are literally moving. So it's really hard to take a nice deep breath on lungs that are already full. right? I only have this little bit of room here. So if I am here, it's like, okay, take a deep breath, Jared. I only have that much, that little bit of room, and then I get more activation of these muscles that sends that same type of signal to my nervous system. More activation, more arousal. So instead, get really good at breathing out. And then that first bit of the inhale, right, have I'm moving more air plus that first bit of the inhale allows all these to relax. That sends the signal for our nervous system to chill out, right? More parasympathetic, more rest and digest, relaxation, recovery mode. Yeah, yeah, cool. So that'll be the main theme here, and we can start to transition into today's breath work. So the guided breath work today is about 30 minutes of breathing, about 30 minutes. Um, any questions right off the bat? Hey, Josh, have you done breath work before?
Yeah,
Yeah,
some.
yeah. Yeah, what was your, did you like it?
Uh, yeah, I've liked it. I've done like, I think I told you like a while ago, I've definitely done like a bunch of videos on YouTube when I was kind of trying to see if I could learn some stuff. And then I've definitely done various breath work and yoga classes or, um, I don't know, different settings like that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
yeah, it's
cool.
great. I did actually have a really amazing moment, kind of like what you were describing. Maybe a month ago, I was just feeling super overwhelmed and everything was just feeling overwhelming and like annoying and making me anxious. And I was like, okay, let me like switch gears and do something. I had to like fill up some sandbags for the farmers market thing. And I was like, okay, that should be an easy thing. I could just put some sand in some bags and that like I can't possibly feel anxious. And I'm doing it. And I'm like, Jesus, like I'm
Yeah.
still feeling anxious. Like, what's wrong with me? And I was like, oh my God, my breath is probably so shallow. And then so I just started like, consciously breathing deeply. And like immediately it was like, like I was like, oh, it's sunny out. Like it's great. Like I don't need to be tripping right now. So,
Yeah, well, cool. So it sounds like you've had, breath practice can be a number of different things. Honestly,
Mhm.
my definition of breath work is just anytime we consciously decide to change our breathing, right? Actually, even before we change it. So it could just be like, hey, I'm just doing breath awareness.
Mhm.
Like I'm just letting it do its thing. Like that totally creates a beautiful platform, like a nice base for our breathwork practice. My style is it's not that intense. It's a little bit of like choose your own adventure type of
Mhm.
thing. So I think you'll do pretty well with it. I like to remind everyone that like, everything that I say is just a suggestion, right? So this is your breathwork practice. You can breathe however you want to. But of course I will prompt you through the whole thing. Yeah. All right. Sound good. So, yeah, so we can go start to get settled in. I do recommend lying down. So lying down on your back would be best for this practice. Also, you can just make yourself really comfortable. Get pillows, blankets, whatever you need. Maybe some water nearby if your throat gets dry. And then I also like to, personally, I'll keep like a notepad nearby because oftentimes I'll get like some ideas that I want to remember, and then I'll just jot those down really quickly. Yeah. And then after the breath work, we'll have some time to um, talk about things, right? So if you have any questions or comments, shares, we'll have some time. I'll be sticking around. Cool. So yeah, just start to get settled in. All right, and then just a quick audio check. Can you hear me well and also the music? Cool. I got a thumbs up.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So start to settle in. See if you can make yourself even a little bit more comfortable. Maybe there's one last stretch you want to make before you find your position. And then from here, start to bring your attention to the breath just below the belly button. Allow yourself to be breathed instead of the one doing the breathing. Just let your breath happen naturally. Let the area of your body relax a little bit more. If there's any tension around your belly, around the hips, just let that go. Feel the rise and fall of the belly. Feel the expansion through the sides. And as we belly breathe, the low back expands a little bit as well. See if you can notice any expansion into the low back as you breathe. We'll start to move our breath a little bit with a physiologic sigh. So we're going to take a double inhale through the nose, and then we'll let it go. These long exhales. So wherever you're at, go ahead and breathe out. In through the nose. One more inhale, all the way to the top, and then just let it go. Go, ah. Good. In through the nose again. And one more sip. And then out through the mouth. A little bit quieter, a little bit longer this time. In through the nose. One more little sip. And out through a straw. Takes a little bit longer to reach the bottom. In through the nose. Another little sip. And then this one will be out through the nose. Okay. In. One more small inhale. And then out through the nose, let a hum go. Time on your own, double inhale out through the nose with a hum. Now starting to tap into the bottom part of our breath, we'll do some reverse breathing. So bracing your core to breathe out and then relaxing to breathe in. See if you can start slow and little by little build it up. as you build the exhale and squeeze out that last little bit of air, you'll start to feel more activation from the lower part of your core, more from your pelvic floor. Will feel like a Kegel squeeze. Let the inhale be fully passive. Squeeze all the air out and let it go. See if you can find some enjoyment here with that squeezing. Nice strong core brace. And then a very comfortable relaxation on the inhale. Remember, diaphragm and the muscles around the neck and shoulders stay relaxed. Keep going with this and start to build in a little more intensity with that core brace. Maybe you start to pause at the bottom, holding that squeeze for a second or two before you release the tension. Not use any extra effort, only what's necessary. We'll start to let go of the reverse breath and the squeezing at the lower portion of the core. We'll start to build the breath up. So we will use our inhale muscles. We're going to do a 4-second count on the inhale, 4-second count on the exhale. Little by little, we'll build up to a 10 count on the inhale and a 10 count on the exhale. So wherever you're at, go ahead and breathe out. Then we'll go in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. In. Keep it nice and smooth. 4 and out. Nice and relaxed on this exhale. 4. In. 4 and out. 2, 3, 4. In. Keep going at this pace. 4 count on the inhale, 4 count on the exhale. Just like this swing, little by little, the breath will start to build naturally. Each breath gets a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper. We're just keeping that 4 count on the inhale and exhale. It doesn't need to be exact seconds. On your next breath, build to a 6 count on the inhale and a 6 count on the exhale. beginning to tie in what we practice with the reverse breath. So a little squeeze on the bottom of the exhale. Just a little squeeze once you reach that natural resting point. A little bit more air escapes the lungs. And with this, we keep building the breath a little bit deeper, a little bit bigger. Keeping the effort level really low here. Not using any extra strain. Letting the natural rhythm of the breath do most of the work. With a little bit of effort at the top and the bottom of the breath. Starting to build. On your next breath, build to an 8 count on the inhale and an 8 count on the exhale. If that's feeling good, build to a 10-second inhale and a 10-second exhale. Maybe you give it a little bit more effort now. A little more activation at the top of the breath. A little bit more of a squeeze at the bottom of the breath. Now using the full expression of the lungs. As you continue this really deep and big breath, you can notice the expansion just below the navel, the expansion through your sides, the expansion that happens in your low back. Keeping the middle part of the breath, so halfway up on the inhale and halfway down on the exhale. Very well. Then on your next breath, go a 10-second count on the inhale And then we're gonna lengthen the exhale. So keep counting on the exhale, 12, 15, 20, whatever you can get to. One really long exhale. And then just pause at the bottom. Let the breath linger here. And then once you need to breathe, just let your normal breath return. Turning to that gentle rise and fall of the belly. Notice the space below your belly button. Little to no effort. Let the belly rise and let the belly fall. Start to build the breath back up. Again, 4 counts on the inhale, 4 counts on the exhale. Keep the count the same, but start to pick up the pace. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. A little bit faster. Each breath, picking up the pace just a little bit. A little bit faster, still moving the same amount of air. Belly into the chest, let it go. Using that little squeeze at the bottom. Squeezing out that last little bit of air, full expression of the breath. Pace. Faster. Feel good about the intensity. Lean into it a little bit. We're almost there. Two more big breaths in. And then hold at the top. Hold it. Good. Hold. And then in a moment, we're going to let it out just through a really small straw. Ready, set, go. Tiny, tiny, tiny straw. Slow exhale. Once you reach the bottom, just pause there. Again, lingering, resting at the bottom of the exhale. No squeezing, just your body's natural resting point. Taking a slow, controlled breath in 3, 2, 1, from the bottom up, nice and slow, all the way up to the top, fill the lungs, and a little pause at the top of the breath here. A little pause at the top. Keep that breath hold, squeeze your pelvic floor and your glutes. Squeeze your core. Squeeze that energy all the way up, little by little, until you reach the crown of your head. And then let it go. Go, ah. And let your normal breath return. And then wherever you're at, go ahead and breathe out again. Squeeze it to the bottom. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Then we're going to do in, out, in. Deep breath in and out. In. Little hold at the top. Little pause here. Pause. Relax into this breath hold. And then our next move is out, in, out. Keep it through the nose. Ready, set, go. Out through the nose. Out. In. Out, and pause at the bottom. One more time, in, out, in, on your own. One last hold at the top of the breath. Whenever you feel the need to let the breath go, let it out through the nose with a hum. Slowly. And from there, just let your normal breath return. Allow yourself to be breathed again. Let the automatic breath create the natural rise and fall of the space just below your belly button. If you find any tension in your body, allow it to just relax with the exhale, releasing any last bit of tension as you discover it. We'll start to make our way back in just a moment here. Before you move, I invite you to give yourself a compliment. Say something really, really nice and kind to yourself.
Breathe out. I remember.
Starting to make our way back. You can wiggle your fingers and toes.
Bare feet on the
Let your
floor.
body move wherever it wants to, whatever stretch feels
I call
really
my
good to you.
spirit back from every scattered dawn.
And once you open your
Tongue of the
eyes,
stars,
not looking at any one thing in
dancing through my
particular,
teeth.
just taking in
I let the
the
old
full
fall
scenery.
off. I feel the drum beneath. I rise in my own rhythm. Heart drum, lead me on. I shine in my true vision. I am the song. I rise in my own rhythm.
Your next move might be to roll onto your side.
Every breath I'm given.
It might be just to stay where you're at and take a nap.
My voice is a river.
Could be to grab for your journal and write down a thought you had.
Strong. I pour it through my chest. I let it run long. Shall I rate or a night? Am I sight or me? Codes of love in every sigh, opening the way. I am safe in this temple of skin. Every cell says yes, come in. I speak, I am heard, I choose, I am sure, I love, I am love, I remember, I return. High heart humming, ground wide open, feet in the soil, future spoken. I rise in my own rhythm. Heart drum, lead me on. I shine in my true vision. I am the song. I rise in my own rhythm. Heart drum, beating strong. I trust every breath I'm given. I am the song.
All right. And whenever you're ready, if you'd like, you can come sit up and we can hang out.